everyone. So I have for me my friend, and my partner in many things. Mm. And basically, and especially with analyzing of things. Christopher is my go-to for many things because Christopher is very resourceful. Christopher is a very resourceful person, and yes, even when he doesn't have exact answer, he has near two answers, and he can always refer you. Christopher is very helpful, and I'm grateful for the gift of him as a friend too. And this chat is something that I know is going to benefit a lot of persons that are willing to learn, because I know that you are full of knowledge. Yes. And and at any point in time that you are given the grace or the opportunity to leash out this, you are always happy to. So Christopher, can we meet you?
Thank you very much
You're
for
welcome.
the short introduction and most importantly for this our course you've embarked on. Okay, I am Anelu Christopher, my third name Abiodun, a recent graduate of the Department of Economics,
Mm-hmm.
Unilag. And just to say a little more about myself, I'm actually an advocate of some things in the line of promoting health among youth, especially around HIV/AIDS, and also
Mm-hmm.
advocate around economic freedom, and I intend adding AI and data democratization targets in Africa. God giving me the grace.
Amen.
So for now, that's a bit about myself. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Well, that's very good. I said it that he has plenty things in one, and that's beautiful to know. So Christopher, tell us about your final years in final days in the university.
My final day, that's final year, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was quite interesting, full of challenges, and of course, things I can also say describe as lovely.
Okay.
And of course, the challenges, of course, you end up learning along the line.
Yeah.
So, and there's no way I'll talk about my final year days without talking about my business, my projects, and of course, volunteering activities I was able to engage in. Talking about my
I'm
projects,
sorry for cutting you short.
okay,
Let me quickly say that Christopher is one of co-ed to one of a an event that we had in our department, that it was like a revival of that event. Yes, we've been having it. We got the next economics discourse. But then, like, when I heard that Christopher was like quite like he was one of those that would be heading that event, I knew something was going to change. Like, I could beat my chest in, and it did wonderfully. It did wonderfully.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
To continue
Yeah.
from where you stopped, so let me just digress a little so that I can continue from where you stopped. Talking about volunteering, that's me starting with that aspect. In my final year, I was able to, I was opportune to be part of the heads for the NESA economic discourse. That's NET 7.0, and I was made the head for the research challenge. And basically, NET is divided into the discourse aspect and the research challenge, which brings up our students to bring out their innovative aspect of them, put them through some series of training so that they can be able to come up with realistic and implementable ideas, just like you pitching to a potential investor, and of course, it has to be a feasible one. We embarked on it, and the head of the project was actually tough for me. I give her a thumb up for the work she did. And we embarked on this, although we faced so many challenges.
Definitely.
But just like you said, when you have dedicated hands anchoring things, and with the help of God, always turns our way. So we were able to make this event a successful one, despite all the challenges we faced in terms of funding, trying to bring people together to achieve the cause and all. And today, leveraging on the success we've been able to achieve for Net 0.0 is actually a benchmark for others to
Yeah.
come. And
Yeah.
of course, there's always, I believe there will always be an improvement. And
Definitely.
even within my capacity right now, if they reach out, of course, they've been reaching out. I'm always willing and ready to support
So
to ensure it continues. Okay, deviating from where
our
I
final year went.
going back to where I also have started, as how my final year went. Starting with my project first,
Okay.
where I was meant to start with. My project, honestly speaking, I would say I was one of the luckiest students in terms of
Supervisors.
friends, helpful friends, supportive friends. You know, there's a way, there are different categories of friends.
Yes.
There are friends that are very good in some areas, and of course, if you meet them for some area, they might not be able to help.
Sure.
Meanwhile, there are other friends that are also very good in some areas that you'll be needing at that particular point in time, and they will also be willing to help. Luckily for me, I had those around me, and just to further acknowledge them, of course, I've done that in my project already. Alan David is there,
Okay.
Adeyemo Moses,
Okay.
and of course,
What did I do?
you're the first to edit my chapter one for me. I don't know if you forgot.
Yeah, I
will send
remember.
it
So via mail.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Jola Yemi, our BGS, our BGS, and of course Alazan. Alazan. Okay, talking about my project again, just continuation. I was so lucky in the sense that it actually didn't stress me, despite the fact that it was the highest unit I've ever done so far. It actually didn't stress me. I can literally count the number of times I met with my supervisor. And at every point in time, there was always a positive outcome
From him.
It's not. It wasn't the type that would, okay, you submitted it, drop it, come back after so. The moment I got to his office, in fact, for him for approval of the topic, that for he approved it. The next day, I will see him also. Same thing. There was nothing like come back. In fact, he sat down with my projects, went through the whole thing right in front of me, corrected everything that needed correction, and gave me back my work to go and work on. So there was no really stress. And talking again about the helpful friends I had, because I did my project myself in line with my friends helping me. They came in, how they played their role. Things I didn't understand, I'll meet them for it. Okay, quickly let me explain this. Can you let me review this? Is it making sense? Or what do you think I should correct there? And they were always coming through. So with this help, I kept improving with information from them, with help from them and all. And also, I not acknowledging the work of Bucci, Mr. Bucci will actually be a very, very big mistake. The video he made for project, then I digested it from the start to the end. So that actually helped a lot. So I was able to learn a whole lot within a very short period of time, because I had other things I needed to combine with my project. So in this regard, talking about projects, I had the help of friends, help of my supervisor that was very, very good. And of course, I also paid the price to make things work. And talking about how lucky I was, I won't say this was achieved basically because I was smart or whatever. It was also the help of God, because I remember having to pray concerning it a couple of times, and even in a particular service in church, we were meant to pray for each other, and the person asked me, what do you want me to pray for you? I mentioned projects, and that was it. It turned out perfect, no stress, and I had my A. Had my A. So talking about the other things I had to do also in my final year, of course, which is my business, brainwares. Of course, I needed to combine it with academics also. Juggling this and school wasn't so easy, but in a way, probably because of the passion I have for it, was so easy for me, because I now became so serious with time management and time management. So
Wow.
when I needed to be in class, I'll be there. Once I'm done, I have there's a move for the next minute, so I'm off school just to execute business. I come
Wow.
back, and also I realized I haven't really been stepping out. Like most of the bases I make, they're always within probably my contact list, within my close friends and all. So I thought about it. What do I need to do, especially in regards to my mates that are about passing out? That will make them remember me, bring ways at least when they see something, they remember something, they just remember that brand and they can always refer and want to come back. And of course, when it gets so big in the future, they always remember, yes, this was how it started.
Yeah.
So I made it a point of duty to work on the sign out
Short.
t-shirt for us, targeting majorly my classmates and of course Unilag, but primarily my classmates. And it was so close to the exam. I needed to prepare. I needed to
Exam.
prepare, but I also needed to do that in terms of because
Social impact.
aside the marketing aspect of it, when they send me their design, they have to design it,
Yeah.
and all this takes time. So I was so strict to the timing. I gave once my flyer was out, I put a timing there, and I made sure I didn't let money motivate me for that. You know, there's a way a deadline can be.
Yeah.
You can have a deadline because more people are willing to pay before
You
go back,
extend it.
you
You
extend
extend the deadline.
the
Yes.
deadline just to make more money. But I had it in mind. I also have my academic goal. That's for the
Yes.
second semester. I had my academic goal. So I made all the orders I had for it. I made sure I executed them so fast. You were even wondering how come you were this fast? Because it was so
Yes.
fast. I already communicated with the printing guy. This when I will come, this and that. Please help me do a perfect work. I'll be working with you, and I know you won't
Not
you won't
disappoint.
disappoint. But at least I still need to I still need a
Reiterate.
reassurance. I still need to say it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was turned out successfully
Wow.
well. And of course, Brainware is always known for high quality. And of course, I didn't make the price so much
And that's
despite
okay.
delivering high quality. So that was achieved alongside. Also, like I mentioned earlier at the start, I also advocates of especially around HIV/AIDS. So, right in my final year, in year three, I completed a research project with the Nigerian Institute of Medical Research in line with for youth by youth. So after that, my supervisor recommended me to be one of the ambassadors. So as an ambassador, we had task of promoting the contest they had around HIV prevention and AIDS and all, targeting majorly youths because they are the most vulnerable ones around these areas. So in the course of in line with this, we had contests to an evil designer to promote right inside this year four. They also had academic goals with business goals with and every other thing. But I was able to execute it all thanks to God. But it's still a matter of time management. But notwithstanding, I also knew my limits. For the contest, there was okay for the boot camp now. For the boot camp, there was an in-house for about 3 weeks, I think. After analyzing the whole thing, because I was head for almost all the courses that needed projects, team leads, and all. I was almost the head for everything.
Yes.
And when it comes to being the head, there will always be your attention will always be required, and there will always be need for presentation. And of course, you might put in all the work. If you're not available for presentation, that might be a 0 mark or you get. So for that 3 weeks in-house boot camp, I had to speak to them, the PIs. Please, because of my projects, this, that, I won't be able to come for the in-house, this and that, and they understood. So I had a replacement. But I told them for a few days I would still show up because it was in Lagos, right in Yaba. So for 3 days, for those 3 weeks, I showed up there. That's at least 10%.
Yes, you tried.
While achieving my other goals. I'm talking about my academic goals. In fact, I think I realized something which I believe will be very helpful for
Okay.
finalists in my year 3 and first semester year 4. The tone, the ringtones, all the negativities around year 3, being the difficult this and that, being
Yes.
very hard.
Mm.
So it became so hard that as if I kind of registered
Wow.
negativity
Or even for year 4.
exactly in my
Wow.
head. So it was like you were not competing you were not in like in a form of competition, trying to what become a systematic being you are not, instead of
Wow.
you just playing out yourself, doing the
Mm.
needful. So you were
Mhm.
not trying to reinvent yourself into
Wow.
becoming something else, like this lecturer or marks this way, this is what he wants.
Mhm.
In fact, as I'm preparing for each exam, I will like if they ask this kind of question, this is how we start. This is how we start. So you are not becoming so systematic, and of course, the natural you is gradually being
Is
taken out of you,
wow.
and sometimes you might not even miss what you prepare for. So right in the exam, because you have that mindset that that person is requiring something, because 2 to 3 lectures might be taking a course.
Yes.
So you see some questions right there, you are trying to come up with what you feel the lecturer
They
will
want.
want. So you are there thinking, you are there trying to just come up with something will be captivating, instead of you just being yourself, flow with what you know, write it the way you want, be original.
Wow.
And in the course of doing this, in fact, at the point I even had to use AI to come up with captivating things that I even memorize that I'll write in the exam.
Wow.
So in the course of doing this, you end up wasting time. Your work ends up losing originality.
Wow.
And instead your ability to now compress the concepts you already know into answering a particular question, you lose it because you are trying to be specific
to fit it into
exactly
something.
into something, instead of you just being natural. So I tested this, it didn't work because I wasn't happy with my results. Year 3 in my worst year.
Oh my.
In my worst year, not because I didn't read, no, because it's one thing to read, it's another thing to be able to answer questions. And when it comes to answering questions, your accuracy matters, your speed matters. And when it comes to theory, that's what year 4 made me to realize. Second semester, your originality actually matters.
Yes.
It plays a huge role when the lecturers are marking, because they see many things. What makes you stand out from the rest is your ability to present the original you, and of course in form of writing. And in this regard, when everybody is trying to compete for what we feel is limited, because everyone believes certain grades have quota, and for it to fit in, you have to be able to know what they want. So I realizing this didn't work. First semester year 3, second semester year 3, even first semester year 4. So I just thought to myself, so I needed a new approach. So what did I do? I became myself. I wasn't so I wasn't trying to be systematic. I'm not a robot. I'm not
That is programmed
I'm
to
not
do
a-
something this
exactly.
way.
They didn't write codes for me. So I needed to be myself, and remembering the fact that when it comes to essay writing, answer theory right from secondary school, I've always been
Something
good.
that
So that means something went wrong. So I just became myself, prepared the way I've always known how to prepare with, because you must pay the price. You must pay the price. The only thing about year 4, you're already so advanced in some understanding of some concept that you tend to spend less time. So I knew I just needed to work on how I answer my questions in the exam hall.
Wow.
And that was what I did. The questions I saw, the normal me will be calculating. Dr. Fito expects me to answer the question like this, so I need to do like this. If I do like this, I might get it wrong. I will just myself writing, and in the course of doing that, you are giving yourself room to be innovative, right? While writing, you cannot bring in a concept. In fact, I was able to bring, not because that question was so simple, but because I was just myself being original. I was now reading questions calmly, not being so systematic that having fear. Because when you have fear of something, your ability to even get it go actually reduces, because you are thinking of something else instead of focusing on what you are meant to focus on. So what I did in the exam hall, because I was now being myself, I told myself, okay, this area is requiring me, my understanding, is seeking my deep understanding of concepts. of how well I've carried out certain research in certain areas. So one of the questions I saw, it was linked to my project work.
Okay.
So linked to my project work. Meanwhile, the former me, I will just
That's
try. I'll be so
That's right.
meticulous with the English, trying to
God.
put comma in the. I'm not saying those things are not necessary.
Yes.
They are necessary, but
Yes.
we are becoming too careful with the thought of you having to
Failing
do
or not
something
doing mistake,
so you
making
won't
mistake.
fail. You end up making mistakes. Because I was myself, I was able to bring in what I needed to bring. I was able to answer the question as an advanced economics
Student.
students would do. Of course, that's what in year four. So I brought in the findings in my research work to answer
Wow.
a particular question. And I tell you, few people were there in that because I was one of them. If it were to be year three, I'm telling you, I won't have an A. And also,
Wow.
I was able to answer the question I knew the most. But in my year three, what I will do is this. Because I've heard this lecturer marks this way, marks that way, to get marks from this lecturer is very, very hard. So what I would do, no matter I had one particular question, because I've heard this lecturer marking is fair, I'll
Okay.
first do that one. I'll first leaving the one I know the most.
Wow.
And while doing that one, I will spend all the time because I had the mindset that this is the only place I can get all the mark I need. It happened in many courses. Let me know. Let me not go back. Research, mention them. It happened.
Oh my.
And I remember one course because I knew this lecturer, like they said, marks well. I answered it first. Meanwhile, question one had the most mark, about 30 marks. So I spent all the time answering this question that was just 20 marks. In fact, I ended up making a mistake. It was calculation related. Why troubleshooting? Because I didn't want to move on to the next question. So I kept troubleshooting. I wasted so much time. The question one and question two for that section, you get the same answer but different approach. I think it was sperma racking and piercing for the regression and the correlation. So I got there's an answer you get, you know you are wrong. The other one was right. That after so much troubleshooting that I couldn't do again, I went to the section 2 answer. After answering it, I got the answer. So I now came back to start troubleshooting again.
To check.
Before I checked the time had gone. Before I now went to
third question. Compulsory.
The compulsory question. After wasting so much time. And meanwhile, my group had the highest. See, I was a group leader. The highest came from my group. Meanwhile, some group leader that was busy teaching others even after the project didn't have an A. He managed to secure a B. Not because he didn't know it, but because he had so much wrong thoughts in his head. It could have probably been if I answered the question one properly, then moved on to the next. I could have been calm enough to know what was right to do. I realized that I actually got it wrong when I was writing out my formula. Because sperma ranking, there's a 6 summation, blah blah blah. I excluded the 6.
You removed it.
And that was because I was in a haste to answer the question that would fetch me the highest mark from one lecturer.
Because lecturer will mark fair.
So that was just it. Being yourself, being authentic. Give yourself room to innovate right inside the exam hall. Just be yourself. Know that you have everything it takes to actually answer a question. Because year 1, year 2, year 3, it's not easy, right? So you already have enough knowledge to actually answer a particular question. Not having in mind that any lecturer marks in certain ways that you need to answer. Because if nothing is unique about your work, then how do you want them to mark you in a unique way? Because there are so many students writing the papers. If everybody is using a systematic approach, it means nothing is unique about you. And they'll give you an average mark. So that's what I can say. Okay, in conclusion, concerning my year 4 second semester, which is my favorite semester, not my best academically, but my most productive year. So at business wise, I was able to accomplish my goals. Academic wise, I was able to accomplish it because I actually had a 4.65, I think, GP for that semester compared to what I had in first semester, year 3, year second semester, and first semester. I deviated that made me deviate from the original goal I had.
Mm.
And advocacy wise, as an ambassador for Youth by Youth, I was able to accomplish my task also. And volunteering wise,
Right.
heading
Even projects,
teams and
yes.
all, that's
Group
group
works.
works. I was able to execute them perfectly well, and it was actually it was a perfect one. All thanks to God.
It was a great ride. You extensively put us inside the boat of your final year, and that is so beautiful. I mentioned earlier that you're a wealth of knowledge. I am not. It is not as though I'm trying to get you flattered. That's it, because I think there is a way you try to see from a unique perspective. That's one thing that I think I cherish about our discussions. There is a way you like look at the way you brought out that focusing on how you think a lecturer wants it. Yes, we understand that our lecturers they have preferences about how their questions should be answered and all, but it shouldn't exclude us still being us. That is one thing. And while you were talking about that, I remembered how that in year, I think it was in year three then, when we started, it started becoming intensive. Year one, year two was like flex for us. But starting from year three, we started knowing what we were into. And then when it was time to start picking electives, you start hearing, oh, this lecturer does this, don't do that, don't do his course, this lecturer. And I remember that was when I had to do public sector economics. I remembered so well that public sector economics, we weren't up to, I'm not sure we're up to 30 in that class for that course. And then the fact that I was so bent on, I don't care if my friends, I was the only one in my clique that was there. None of you guys did it now, yeah. And then in the course, it was even in the course of doing that course, I realized a part of me that wanted to like do tax. It was from public sector. So, and then I was like, oh, if it was a different story, a course that I ended up having A. Yes, some people were like, oh, then everybody should have had A or something, and that maybe 72 was too small for A or something. But it was too small, but there was A as a grade. Like, do you know what that is in the economics department? So, as much as, yes, we listen to advices, it is, we should not exclude us being ourselves. Like, our originality should not be taken away. And do you know, it was while you were talking, I'm like, oh, could there have been maybe some reasons why I had some grades that I wasn't even expecting myself? Because I remember that it was that public sector class, Dr. Shitu was explaining to us how we could answer questions in exams. He explained to us how that you don't, in fact, when you don't know, he told us, when you don't know a question, start defining the concepts. Like, start defining, maybe they are asking you what is public sector, define what is public, and then go ahead to this explain sector, and then go ahead to join them together. That there is no way you are not still going to come up with something. And that really helped. That really helped me, because many times I don't even know exact thing to write. I just know that I'm defining. And when I'm defining, I'm trying to like, okay, what does this thing, what will this thing mean to someone ordinary that did not come and study economics? Like, let's start from there. From there, you can now impute, like you said, your own concept, the concepts we've learned. Maybe year one, year two, year three, the concepts we've learned, well. Not doing any, that means we cannot find you in random places. If you are not doing anything there, you cannot be found there and all that. So it is like, I feel like it is, there were a lot of lessons to pick from just that your journey. And then I just want to ask you that, what would you say to a final year student? What if you are saying if a final year student is to sit with you right now, what would you tell them? Like, in specific, what would you think, what would you advise a person that, oh, you wish you had done this better, you wish you did this, you wish you did that, what would it be?
Okay, if I get you right, you mean the things
You wish you had done better.
I wish I had done better
Mm-hmm.
in my final year.
Yeah.
Okay, firstly, I would say I wish I participated in all the final year
Okay, activities.
That would be the first one. Secondly, wish I networked more because after final year, you might not be able to see people again. Additionally, to be honest with you, I wish I actually got some know some lecturers on a personal basis because this is the thing about the whole thing. You might be thinking so much straight right in class, but if you present something outside the class to them to partner with you or to share knowledge with you, they are always willing and it's always within their capacity because they are highly knowledgeable.
So get this right. I'm sorry. You have value that you want to give to them, right? Are you offering them a value? Do you have something you are offering them to get their own time value in return? Is that it?
Yeah, in that regard. For example, now, okay, what I mean by this, for example, you have a project you are working on. Well, and of course, every project requires a research, or maybe you are even going into research. You might be thinking you have all it takes to actually make it a huge success, but that's oftentimes a big lie. But when you have people who have gone ahead of you, because there's no lecturer who is not vast in academic research, and when it comes to giving consultation wise and all. So these are the set of people you can go to, and you will always be willing to help. But how will you go to them if you've not built certain relationships with them? And going back to talking about the final year week activities, I participated in some, but I almost didn't want to participate. In fact, for my fellowship, I didn't participate in any of them. And that's because I wasn't so happy about how I performed in year 3. Like I said, it was my worst year. So I still had that anger, that bitter. I don't even know the words to use in me. So I almost wanted to exclude myself from every activity. But seeing my friends engaging in almost everything, so I just said, okay, let me participate in some. And of course, those are part of the memories I can look back to and I can say, okay, yes, my life wasn't just about
academics, business, and volunteering.
So I wish I actually participated in every activities in my final year week and work. And I'm talking about connecting with other people, even because I realized something. Majority of us, if not most of, okay, let me just use the word majority of us, oftentimes only connect with people within our departments. Some don't even connect with people outside their department that are in the same faculty. So I wish I actually connected more with people around like not just economics department. Business wise, some people actually know me that I don't even know. But how many people widely say I know on a one-on-one notes that are outside my departments. Because even inside my department, there's some people I don't know. They just say, oh, okay, someone introduced me to someone the other day in school. Was like, oh, so you are the brainwaves I've been hearing about.
Are you serious?
Imagine. So I wish I actually connected more with people because a time will come as you join you on in life, you will see that you actually need people from different areas. This is the definition of connection. It's not just having people around you that know what you know, but when you have people around you that know what you know and also know what you don't know, that's actually the definition of connection. So you need people from various fields, different fields, because you can go into any area and you need help with one or two things. It is better going to people you know you have built a certain relationship with, that you can trust them to be loyal, to actually execute that task as if it were theirs, even when there will be monetary reward. Because trust is something you build over time. Because I don't know if I'm talking from the standpoint of business. Because because most things about me
is around.
I'm already linking it with partnership. So I'm already linking it with partnership. So I actually wish I connected more with people. Although to an extent I did, but I wish I did more.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think that's all that we are going to take from it. Do you think you have something else that you just want to add, and just some final notes and some final notes?
Some final notes. Let me just, okay, for finalists, it's about wrapping up, of course. So there's no longer room for you to say you want to start planning a 4-year journey inside a 40-year. So what the best you can do is to reflect back on those things you wanted to achieve. Ask yourself, how many did I really achieve? And even those that I have not been able to achieve, right now that I'm in my final year, what percentage of that target can I still achieve? So you map them out. So this now serves as a roadmap for your final days in the universities to start executing them. Because the thing about you combining a lot of things at the final is because there are many things you might want to achieve after doing that. If you are not careful, you might end up losing the primary things. For example, trying to achieve so many other things alongside your academics, you might end up losing out in your academics. So when you have mapped it out, you see, okay, this certain percentage I can achieve based on my timing, based on the resources available to me, based on the people I have around me, because you can only leverage on key relationships to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So you now start achieving them one after the other. And anyone you are not able to achieve, it shouldn't be a form of regret. No, you are still on the path to learning. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to even do whatever you wanted to do that you couldn't do. But one thing is, I always say, never allow it affect your academics. Because, for example, you might want to acquire a certain skill. You might want to build your business to a great extent before graduation. You want to do all this in year 4. Don't choke yourself. Do the one you can do, but do it very well. Because you can improve on every other thing. But you see that GP, if you have a carryover or a grade you are not happy about, all in the name of chasing those things, you can't erase that thing, that grade that has been registered. But every other thing, you can always improve on them. You can master that skill after graduation. You can still build upon that business after graduation. But you see the academic life, that's how you have it. You can always do masters, but you already have the BSc, you have the Mali, you have your academic background. So know your priorities, know your limits, and of course, within your capacity, be the best version of yourself at that point in time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I had an awesome time. This is very, very resourceful. You did not for my hands. I helped you at the beginning, and trust me, you did not for my hands. Thank you very much for doing this with me. You're welcome.
And thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's a good privilege.